Hello students. Today we will see the first JavaScript program, that is write a JavaScript program that calculates the squares and the cubes of the numbers from 1 to n, where n should be inputted by the user and outputs the HTML text that displays the resulting values in the HTML table format. Okay, that in the sense, so you have to create a HTML page which contains a text box and a button, and where you should input a number n, and you have to generate the squares and the cubes of the numbers from 1 to that inputted number and display it in the table format. Now we'll move to the coding part. Okay, so I'll use the Notepad++ as an editor. Okay, yeah, so I'll start with the basic skeleton of HTML. Say HTML, and the first thing is I'll save this one. So I'll save in desktop, say in my folder. See, so here I'll say for example JavaScript 1.html. This is my page. Okay, the basic skeleton. I'll continue head within this title tag. Say I'll give a square and cube. Okay, and close the title tag. Then I'll add a script tag. Later I will include the function. Then I close the head tag and the body tag. Then a basic skeleton I'll write first and close HTML. Okay, so within the body, I want to design the UI. For that, I'll start with the form tag and the name attribute. I'll give it in form 1. Okay, so I'll put an heading, say S2, enter a number. I close S2, then I'll put a text box, say input, say type. I'll take it as a number, and I'll give an ID attribute now. So ID which is equal to, I'll give as num. Okay, then I'll include attribute called required. Then I'll place to next I'll put a button. So input type which is equal to button, and ID I'll change to say B1, and value I'll give is generate. Okay, so this is my UI. Okay, I'll open in a browser. That UI I'll open in a browser. So I saved here in this folder with the JavaScript 1. Okay, it looks something like this. Enter a number. Here you have to input a number and click by generate. You have to generate the squares and the cubes of that from 1 to that number. I'll go back to here. So here I'll write the function now. Say function fngen function generate. So within this function, so initially I want to get the value of this control. So I'll declare a variable, and before that I want to do a validation if that control is empty or not. Okay, so initially I declare a variable, say for example n, and we want to get the value of this control. So I'll go for document dot get element by id. So the id is num dot value, and to get the value. Okay, first I'll check the value. So if n which is equal to nothing, what I do is, if n is equal to nothing, just I want to print the value message. So alert, enter a number. Okay, and also I want to focus to that element. So once again, I'll go for document dot get element by id, that is name dot focus focus. Then I want to return. Right. So if it is empty, something like this. So I want to call this function here in button. I'll add an event that is on click, and I want to call that function that is fngen. Okay. Okay. So now I'll check it out. So I'm gonna refresh this and I click on generate. I'll get a error messages that enter a number. Okay, so if I input a number and generate, yeah, so I'm not written anything there, so it's not displaying anything. So I'll go back and I'll continue with JavaScript. Okay, so this is the validation I did. After this validation, okay, so what I want to do is I want to display those things in a table. Okay, so initially before generating the cubes and the squares, so I'll put the table headings. So if I want to write anything, so use document dot write. So what I want to do is I want to generate a table and the first row of the table. I'll start with the table. Okay, and say a border which is equal to 1 I'll give. Okay, so then once again document dot write a row I want to generate. What I do is I start a tr and td. First td I require as a number, and I'll close the td. Then I'll start a one more td, that is square. This and all the column headings. Okay, td, one more td I'll start. There I'll display the cube values, and I'll close the td, and finally I close the tr. So this is the first row in that my table. Okay, right. So next line, so I'll start a loop. Okay, so for, say I'll declare a one more variable like var, say I'll start it with 1 semicolon, I less than or equal to the value of n I plus plus. Okay, so within this, uh, I want to create a row, and in the first td you have to put a number, a second cell you have to put the square value, and third column you have to put a cube value. Okay, so once again I'll start document dot write. I'll start a td. Okay, yeah, so I'll start sorry, yeah, tr I want to start. Then the first td, say document dot write. I'll start a td. Okay, within that I want to print the value of I now. So for that I'll concat the value of I. So concatenation you can do is by the operator plus, and after this you want to close the td. Within the flower bracket you close the td, close, and put a semicolon. This is to print the first td, the value of I. Next, the square, just do a modification I into I. Next, you have to print the cube, so just I into I into I. Okay, the cube. And finally, what you are going to do here, so you have to close the td tag. To close the td tag, sorry, tr tag, I closed. After the for loop, after closing the for loop, what you're going to do, you have to close the table tag. You have to close the table tag. Okay, so that's it. You have to write it in the JavaScript. What we written here, initially I got a value n, that is by getting the value from the control nem. By id I got get element by id, and did a simple validation whether you inputted a number or not. After that, use the loop for I is equal to 1 to n, and I printed the value of I square and I cube, and I place it in the table tag. Okay, everything I placed, the column headings and uh, first row has the headings, then everything generated once, and finally close the table. Okay, that's it. Let's see whether it works or not. I'll go back and I'll input a number, say 20, and click on generate. Okay, now it got generated the squares and the cubes of the numbers from 1 to 20. Okay, once again, let's check. I got refresh this and say, for example, I'll give us in 10 and click on generate. So it's generated. And if I'm giving other than this nothing, it displays error like a validation. There's an error like enter a number. Okay, give say 6, it generates. Thank you for watching the video.